Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 249 of the Canadian Football Countdown, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network and the Alternative Football Network. Ryan, Trey, and Adam here with you this evening for we're back after a week off, and CFL training camp is just around the corner. CFL preseason is just over 2 weeks away, guys. We're finally almost there. After a long off season, we're back with, there's a lot of news around the CFL. So we sit around the table once more to discuss a variety of different topics before CFL training camp. Of course, the CFL draft was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I guess, at this point. We'll talk a little bit about that, but some big news over the past couple of days to chat about around Chad Kelly and his suspension. Nathan Rourke update, version 5.0? I don't know. I feel like we do a lot of Nathan Rourke updates. We'll talk about Milt Stegall, Manny Arceneaux, and also play a little game at the end with some guessing some of the quarterback salaries. Based on 3 Down Nation article. We'll also take your comments and questions in the live chat throughout the night. Thanks to presenting sponsor Game Time TV, which you can learn more about at GameTimeTV.ca or Facebook.com/GameTimeTVMB. But let's bring in the panel here this evening. I'm Ryan, joined first of all by the great Trey Colbeck. Trey, how are you doing tonight?
Fantastic, boys. Great to be back in the studio. Great to be back to talk some football. I'm ready for the season, guys. I am getting sick of betting on hockey and basketball. I need my football fix of betting on stuff. I need, some point spreads. I need that back in my life. And maybe I wonder what the odds will be. Probably Blue Bombers minus 30 against the Rough Riders in preseason, Adam. Something like that in a couple of weeks. So bet the Ant Farm on that one. Right, Adam?
Especially if I hear that Winnipeg's rookie is in that game, I'd be very, very scared for the
85 rookie. If he's playing, it's minus 45. Like it's over.
Anyways, no, I'm doing good. You know what? We've been getting into seating. It's been pretty busy here. About halfway through, actually, already, which is very exciting. Of course, it's already preseason, so I get to drink out of the green Kool-Aid and start doing that again. So, yeah, should be a good season here, and really excited to get it going here and hear what Trey's got to go for some bets here. So,
we've got our
in a preseason game. Come on, Trey.
Well, we've got our first bet in the chat here this evening already. What's the over/under on Trey's beard getting shaved before the summer?
Completely shaved, 0. Trim, that'll probably happen.
All right.
I don't like to completely shave it. It'd be generous to say double chin. I probably have at least a triple chin. And this bad boy protects it. So I look a lot better.
Well, we can't grow something like that. It's just going to be ugly.
Yeah.
We've seen
every pimple I've gotten like over the last however many. They're there. You can't see them. I don't have to worry about it. I'll be like, what is it, Peter and Homer Simpson with the bird coming out? That's fine. I'll do it.
I feel like we've got the perfect range here. Adam's always clean shaven. Trey's got the big beard, and I'm usually somewhere in the middle. It's perfect. We cover all angles.
We got to get the AI picture of Mike with a beard. I would spend money on that.
Well, we can't start off a podcast episode without talking about food. It's kind of tradition. Not an official sponsor, but Adam tried out the Tim Hortons pizza for the first time today. You live to tell the tale. How was it?
Yeah, we'll check in 24 hours to make sure that that's definitely the case. But, it wasn't terrible. I mean, I've had a lot worse of pizza. Let's put it that way. The tomato sauce was a little weird, but, I also ordered a chicken parm pizza, so maybe I expected that a bit. I don't know. I'll give it a 4.5, 5 out of 10. 7-Eleven pizza still is. If you want cheap pizza, you want good
God
pizza.
Tier right there, yeah.
Yeah, no question. It's not 7-Eleven.
Good.
It's the best tasting cheap cardboard you'll ever have.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because I can't do Little Caesars to save my life.
Yeah, no, honestly, give it a competition, 7-Eleven.
I didn't mind. I tried the pepperoni. I don't mind it. I think you're right. The sauce, it is what it is. You're getting $7.99 through a drive-through. Like, what do you expect in here, man? But
well, exactly. That's what I'm like. You know what? You can't have high expectations. It was a lot better than what the pictures are there on the old X and Instagram. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, I saw some of those. That was terrible. We're dropping potential sponsors like flies here, by the way, but that's fine. Let's be real.
My only issue is who wants coffee with a flatbread pizza? That's not and even a ice cap is like, and I know they have bottled pop, but I never get pop from Tim's, right? You don't.
I got one of those thirst quencher things.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'll do that. I get the kids the lemonades a lot. They like those.
Oh yeah, those are good.
But
what's better, the Tim's Pizza or the McRib?
McRib, no question.
McRib, yeah. McRib.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, that's no question. McRib has that.
I low-key didn't mind that, and I'm actually kind of disappointed they're gone. So,
is it gone again now?
Now they did what, menu mixing? I mean,
yeah, and that's gone too already. I saw my kids tried the chicken cheeseburger, and it just looked disgusting. I didn't mind the spicy chai junior chicken. I'd done that before. That was delicious. I did that years ago when that sauce first came out. But everything else on there, man. And, man, that commercial is driving me up the wall.
A filet-o-fish sandwich should never be with a cheeseburger. Oh, that's all I could say.
It is now. It's up on their menu now. Like what?
All right. Well, before we get a couple of housekeeping notes before we get into our CFL talk here, of course, before we go any further, we do want to always acknowledge that the Canadian Football Countdown is brought to you from Treaty 1 territory, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation, as well as from Treaty 4 territory, traditional territory of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and Métis Nation. Also, if you want more content in between or more discussion on CFL topics with us and other members of the community, check out the Discord. The link is in the episode description. It's free to join us over there. Lots of CFL chatter. It was busy today. Lots of chatter around the news we're going to be talking about here shortly, so feel free to join us over there. Scott wants to know best chicken sandwich before we get into the CFL talk. Yeah, Popeyes is pretty good.
I love Popeyes is the only deep fried chicken I can eat. I can't eat Chicken Chef or KFC.
Actually, I've been because we don't have Popeyes in our small town.
Oh.
So
we'll
never had a
mail you
Popeyes
some.
chicken sandwich. Thank you. I can't wait. Anyway, KFC's okay. It's not the best. It's pretty dry, to be honest with you, after a while. And then I had a Mary Brown's chicken sandwich the one day. That wasn't bad.
I've heard good things about Mary Brown's. Like I said, I got sick once years ago off of Chicken Chef or KFC, and it took me years to have deep fried chicken again. But Popeyes is the only one I can stomach because it's so spicy. It doesn't taste like deep fried chicken.
Yeah, see, I'm not a spice guy, so I mean, like Mary Brown's chicken is honestly really good. They got a honey barbecue one. Boy, is that good.
And now I want fried chicken at 9:21 p.m.
Skip the dishes. Always open.
Yes.
Always
there we go. Perfect. All right. First news item to talk about is the big one we've been speculating about all off season. Chad Kelly will training camps begin in less than a week. Chad Kelly, as of right now, will not be a part of them because he has been suspended by the CFL for a minimum of 9 regular season games for violating the league's gender-based violence policy. Of course, this was over the news that came out in February. Former Argos assistant coach suing him for sexual harassment, and the team for basically dismissing him, the team for wrongful dismissal of her in relation to the case is what I meant to say. There was silence from the Argos, silence from the CFL as investigations were ongoing for the last little while, and now I guess the investigation has completed. And the CFL has dropped this bomb the day before rookie camps begin that Kelly will sit for a minimum of 9 regular season games. It sounds like he is going to have to do regular check-ins with professionals related to the gender-based violence policy and prove that he is able to be reinstated before they let him back in. Opening thoughts, guys. I'll go to you here first. Adam, what do you think on this 9-game suspension for Chad Kelly? Is that what you expected to see?
I expected the minimum part because honestly, they had to do something, and they had to go and make an example that this is not tolerable in the CFL. Kudos to the CFL for getting the chat. I'll say this. They did make a proper suspension on this one here. They had to do what they had to do because, let's face it, there was a lot of negativity about this one. And negativity, I hate to be the mob crowd and sound like a mob kind of thing, but you know what? This is the right suspension. He obviously did something. I won't speculate on what happened or what he said, she said stuff or any of that. All I'll say is if the CFL has done an investigation, they figured that this is 9 games worth, it's pretty serious what happened. Something seriously happened here. I believe that the suspension is about right. I believe the minimum part is correct as well, that he should get some gender-based training involved in this and has to prove that he is ready to be a part of the team and a part of the CFL before he can come back. Does this put his future into jeopardy? Oh, yeah. And I'll explain a little bit more. I think we had some more news later on about him possibly appealing and everything. I'll talk a little bit later on about that and why I think he almost had to. But the one thing I do want to say on this, so far, and again, it's still a little bit open there, we haven't heard any issues from or anything coming of the team itself possibly getting a suspension or getting some sort of fine or firings or anything, really. And I mean, I know John Murphy was listed in this one, and there was a few others that were listed. It'd be very interesting to see what they get in the end here, if anything, and see what goes on there. Trey, your first thoughts of all this stuff with Chad Kelly?
Man. I don't know why everyone's so mad at the league and the Argos. I think they did everything right from their perspective because the worst thing the CFL could do was hand out a suspension prematurely or criticize the other person prematurely. They did the process right. They had their third party investigation look at it. So I don't know why everyone's mad at the CFL. I understand why people are mad at the Argos if this happened years ago, but again, their job is just, I think the league probably told them to shut up until things get settled to some degree, because that's what these leagues will do, because they're just going to get into more legal trouble with the pointing. Now, I'm trying to find it. I swore I saw some article a couple weeks ago about Chad Kelly saying that it was the roles were reversed in this situation. Does that ring a bell? Or am I making that up? I thought he said something a few weeks ago.
I think he said something on social media that was maybe interpreted in that way, but there's been a lot of confusing behavior from Kelly on social media.
Fair enough. But if that dude, shut up. Like, just shut. Like, again, I the only thing that I could have maybe thought from him was when this came out, if you went and said, yeah, something like this happened, wasn't quite, I didn't interpret it this way, but she interpreted that way. I apologize. Some sort of, contrition when this came out a couple months ago, then maybe I'd feel whatever. But he's tweeting things that make no sense or seem like he's defending it. Posting something about, retweeting things about Caitlin Clark, about the salary wasn't exactly a wise move either. He's tweeting out rap lyrics, which are always not the most female positive. He's doing videos live drunk, it looks like, or high or something. He's doing the complete opposite. So, no, I think, because we were getting in this debate in our Discord, I think, second chance. I think the second chance was him over the last couple months or whenever, or since this came out, right? Dude, you something screwed up. Again, I haven't heard anything from Simone Lawrence. I'm not trying to compare the two, but if you first day one, you say, you know what, I screwed up. This happened. I've already went through the program. I feel a lot better about it than waiting 3 months or however many months later. Now it's a 9-game suspension. Now we're going to do the appeal. So made a good point. He might play till Labor Day, depending on how long the CFL appeal takes. And what's a 9-game suspension going to do from then? I hope the team just prevents him from playing and says sit out. But I'm thinking we're seeing a Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's playing this year, even though it's a 9-game suspension. I don't think he's playing this year.
Can I bring up something about the timing real quick, Ryan?
Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, just the one thing I could say also is you got to remember tomorrow rookies are allowed to come in and quarterbacks are allowed to come in with the rookies. That's how they always do it for testing and for evaluation. So Chad Kelly could have been practicing tomorrow.
Yeah.
So the CFL's timing on this, you can see where it's coming from, because I'm sure that they were hoping that this got settled out of court. This got dealt with. It was over with. It was done, and they didn't have to deal with anything. Yeah, I'm going to throw a little bit of a thing on the CFL. You picked the last minute to do this, and I know why you had to do it. And of course, I think the punishment fits well, and they didn't get it right. But my thing is, the timing is, you knew that he had to get either a suspension today, or he would have to be allowed to practice tomorrow.
But again,
it's war tomorrow if he would have practiced.
It's out of their hands, though, when it's with the third-party investigator, though, because they probably just got the report yesterday or first thing today.
We don't know when they got the report.
That's fair. Honestly, I think the timing's fine. Hey, guess what, man? You're not showing up tomorrow. It's kind of like when it's like your boss firing on Friday. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But here's my thing. If this would have got settled last week out of court, okay? Yeah. Let's say she goes and she settled off with the Argos and Chad Kelly and everything, would we have gotten a 9-game suspension? I hope in my way that I would say that they would have gotten the CFL would have got it right and still given him a 9-game suspension.
Has it even went to court or anything yet?
No, well, it's in court, I guess, but that's about it.
Oh, okay.
They're taking filings and they're doing their...
Because again, the court thing could be 3 or 4 years, knowing how our court system works. And that's not on the CFL either, right? The CFL is supposed to ban them for 4 years. It's taking 4 years of court. It's the same thing with Kenny Lawler, right? He was playing football, and then next thing you know, 2 or 3 years later, his DUI charge came back up, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but my thing is, you got this case.
Yeah.
You were probably trying to get the Argonauts and Kelly to, if this is true, that what all has happened, and they knew about it, they probably were hoping that they were going to settle this at least out of court, get this one dealt with already, and then move on. But now you can see it's dragging out. It's not in court yet. It's not going through. I'm worried that the CFL still went and said, well, it's the last day that we can possibly do something about this. We got to do it.
They had to do something. Absolutely here, right? For a league that is promoting, football being for everyone, it's always promoting, women in football. I think doesn't each team kind of have a women ambassador that was named that gets to kind of work with the team there as well. Female coaches and staff across the different organizations. You're sending a message to them in a way, and all the female fans out there as well, right? You have to take a stance against something like this, even if the investigation is ongoing here. So I'm pleased to see. I'm surprised 9 games is longer than I honestly thought they were going to give them. I think I would argue perhaps it should be longer. So I like that it says 9 is a minimum, but we don't know all of the facts, of course. But there's reasonable, it's reasonable, I think. But I was expecting the bare minimum from the league. I was expecting a 2-game suspension, a 3-game suspension from them. This is probably one of the biggest suspensions we've seen from the CFL in a while, not counting the one like 2-3 weeks ago of Sean Lemon indefinitely, but for different circumstances, which is wild that that's perhaps longer, but I get it. As well on one capacity.
Yeah, I like people, again, quick topic on that. I wonder, because he retired, is the CFLPA in his quarter to argue it? So the league could go and say that, where I'm not saying they are, but we've seen this in other leagues, the NFL, where stupid stuff like this happens and the PA still stands up for the player, right? So I wonder if 9 games is kind of that way to appease everybody. They kind of still punish the Argos. I'm sure the Argos might, because what can they do to the Argos other than fire somebody?
Take away draft picks.
Draft picks, fine.
I guess, but again, CFL draft. I mean, you're sure right, but it's hard to punish them. But hey, we're going to take away your quarterback. Now you also have a $400,000 salary cap dead space because of it. I mean, I don't know what else. I think 9 games. Again, I can't see him playing this year. Adam knows it all too well with his Browns. You're not getting Deshaun Watson back, and you're not getting Chad Kelly back this year, right? So
no. So you're not. Even if he does come back, he's not the same Chad Kelly that's going to come back halfway through a season without a training camp.
Unless he appeals it and he plays, but I can't see the Argos allowing him.
Yeah, so he is, or him and his legal team are looking into the appealing process, it sounds like, at least. And these always get appealed. I feel like these always get appealed one way or another, these suspensions. So you have to imagine that will be. Now, what does that look like while the appeal is ongoing? Presumably, it would mean he's allowed to practice and stuff with the team. I wonder, is he still allowed to play during that appeal process? Yeah. Or
well, if it's the same as PED, because Andrew Harris' appeal thing was like 2 months, and then he served away after. So if it's the same as PED, which I'm assuming they're all the same, but again, I can't imagine the Argos because they're getting a PR nightmare already.
But you got to realize why Chad Kelly had to appeal this. I mean, if it's in a court case and he goes and he says, "Yeah, I'll accept the 9 games," you're pretty much admitting you did something, and that's going to really ruin your court case.
Well, that's what I mean, though. If he did this 3 months ago or whatever before the whole process, I would have rathered an admittance then to some degree. I was just going to say, it's almost like the Argos saw the Rough Riders' stupid email from a couple months ago and said, "Hold my beer," right? Like, and if they let Chad Kelly play, they're doubling down on that too. And you got to think pinball's smarter than that, and I don't know who I can't think of the guy's name. Who's the guy that's being mentioned in all this?
John Murphy.
Ron Murphy.
Who's had issues in the past, right?
This, right. So, but again, does pinball sweep that under the rug if he has a guy like that working there, or is it pinball's choice?
So to shift the conversation here so I think we're all on the same page that good on the league for suspending him for 9 games, and we'll wait and see how things play out with that. Now, where does this leave the Argos the day before training camp or rookie camps open? Number 1 quarterback on the depth chart right now is Cameron Dukes at number 1. And, there's a lot of question marks of, are the Argos still going to be good this year? How will they fare? Interested to know what you guys think on that, Trey.
Cameron Dukes almost beat the Blue Bombers starting defense last year with a bunch of backups. I think this could be a blessing in disguise for the football side of the Argos. The only thing is the salary cap hit for a guy who can't play 9 to 18 games this year. But I think Cameron Dukes has showed enough. Is he proven? No, but he's probably had just as much playing time as Drew Brown. And a couple other guys who might be getting big roles. I'm not too concerned. We always see new guys come into the league. Powell, who was on Ottawa last year?
Dustin Crum.
Guys who show up. Are they all-stars for a season? No, but they show up, get some overtime, BS win, get 1,000, do something crazy here and there. I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure if he plays all 9 games or all season, I'm sure he can still get the Argos 3rd or not 2nd place in the East. Adam, right?
Well, I mean, let's face it. You know what? Anthony Calvillo, Darian Durant, Jonathan Crum, and Cameron Dukes all have in common. At one time, they were rookies. I mean, you know what? He's going to go. He's going to have a full training camp this year as presumably the starter, unless Toronto does something crazy. I think he'll be fine, to be honest with you. He's probably got more. He'll have likely more success than a Dustin Crum who came off the bench, or a Jake Dolegala who came off the bench after being the number 2 or number 3, I guess, in training camp. That's a different story when you're the number 2 or the number 3, and you're presumed the number 2 or number 3. When you're presumed the number 1, you get a lot of reps. Yeah. Well, and I think Cameron Dukes will do well with them. So
he's probably somewhat happy that this happened the day before training camp opens, because now he's starting day 1. He's getting the playbook.
Well, you know what. At least you know what's coming.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't know if Toronto's going to make a trade or they're going to try to sign somebody. I'm sure their thought came to a certain quarterback that's down south right now. Even if they got $300,000 on the book, they might still sign him. They might have still signed him, to be honest with you, for the right amount. But then again, I know that a certain quarterback down south had a few choice words about all this situation with Chad Kelly.
Are you talking about Tom Brady and his roast, or?
Yes. Tom Brady was roasting Chad Kelly during that whole thing on Netflix, right?
If Nathan Rourke came to the Argos now, that would be like, is it DeChambeau who absolutely crap talked the Saudi golf tour and then signed with them? Like, that would be the same level of pettiness.
That's my thought too, and we'll talk a little bit about Nathan Rourke's current situation here in a minute. But, that there has been a lot of speculation about his future in the NFL, and everybody's like, conveniently, this is the perfect fit for him to come in, be the starter for the Argos, and they're not going to miss a beat and maybe even be better than before. Nathan Rourke just called out the Argos on social media a couple weeks ago for their handling of this situation. I have a really hard time imagining him turning around and going to sign with them after that, but money does talk. That being said, they're not the only team that's going to try to give him money, and I think every other team, if he were to come to the CFL, all 9 teams should be doing whatever they can to get Nathan Rourke. I don't think there's a team that shouldn't be making an offer. I think some will have better offers than others, but I think every team should take the shot.
Why do I feel like the odds of Hamilton landing him just got way better, just so he could beat them on Labor Day and stuff?
I just love how it was like exactly 1 hour or 2 hours after all this stuff with Chad Kelly happened that Nathan Rourke signs with the Jets or with the Giants. Sorry, I was just like, that's just hilarious for timing wise.
Yeah, convenient that it's all on the same day. Cameron Dukes, though, I'm excited for him. I mean, he's had more career CFL starts coming into a season than Chad Kelly had coming into last year. Did he not? Dukes started 1 game last year. I don't know if Kelly ever started with the Argos in 2022. Maybe 1 game. I know he got some time when MBT was injured, halfway through a game. So they're kind of on that same level, and I wonder how much of this was Kelly's talent and how much of it was the Argos offensive system last year that also set them up for success there. So like Trey, I liked what I saw from Dukes in that game against the Bombers. The Bombers had everything to play for in that game, and the Argos had nothing, and Dukes almost stole the game and looked really good in the process. So you all know I love my attachment to quarterbacks without seeing much from them before. Sometimes it doesn't work out, a la Taylor Cornelius in 2023, but I think I'm back. I might have to back the Dukes train for 2024 here. I'll make the bold prediction right now that Cameron Dukes is an East Division All-Star. I think there's at least a realistic scenario. He's second best quarterback in the East Division. I'd put Fajardo at number 1.
Yeah.
Ottawa, I don't know what we're going to get from Drew Brown, and we all know how I feel about Bo Levi Mitchell.
No, I never understood the sky is falling mentality in the CFL. In the East, you got 3 teams you got to be better than. You got to only be better than 1 really to make the playoffs. Forgetting the crossover, right? So Toronto, they got to finish 3rd or 2nd. I can't see them being worse than Hamilton and Ottawa. I can't see it. And looking at them, like I said, blessing in disguise. Cameron Dukes, 25. This could be your future guy for 7-8 years if you keep him healthy and keep, where Chad Kelly's 30 already. And he's going to sit out a whole year. He could be 31 next year, and with his issues and stuff, right? So this might just, like I said, for the team who apparently screwed up in this whole situation, they might actually be benefiting from it a little bit. Adam, anything else?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I mean, if he's going to get a great opportunity. If he capitalizes on it, it's great. If he doesn't, well, Toronto will find another quarterback if they have to. But like you said earlier, Trey, I don't see Chad Kelly coming back to save the day this year, to be honest with you. And if he does come back, is he going to be the same quarterback?
And like I said, from a PR standpoint, could you imagine? You know what I mean? He sits his 9 games out after the appeal, and he shows back up week 1 of the playoffs. The Argos, even if the Argos think he's better than Cameron Dukes, or maybe Cameron Dukes is hurt and he's better than the 2nd or 3rd string guy they got in there. Just from a PR standpoint, why are you're not going to put him in the West semifinals or the West finals in the Grey Cup? You know what I mean? You're keeping him away from the facility if that's his return. Right.
And what if Dukes is playing so well by the time the suspension is over that, are you going to want to revisit down that path? Or like you said, he's 25 years old. Do you continue and ride with the hot hand here? That's how we've seen guys like Nathan Rourke and like Chad Kelly succeed. Wild, just to wrap up this topic, wild to think that the league MVP just last year has now been suspended for half the season the following year. I was trying to ask Chat GPT before to see how often this has happened in sports history, and I'm still iffy on how when I ask that these things whether I'm getting actual true results. But the first one spat out was Barry Bonds, obviously, won MVP a couple of times and then had big suspensions, but never the year right after he won MVP. Let me double check. Who was?
He never got suspended, did he? Or did he get suspended?
I thought huge suspension for the Deflategate, didn't
was it huge, or was it like 4 games?
Well, but still, he got suspended after he was an MVP.
I guess so. There's a few baseball players, Bonds. I don't know if he was an MVP, but Tatis Jr. got one right after he had a monster season. I know a lot of guys who get them for PEDs after a monster season in baseball.
Yeah, Sean Merriman in the NFL as well, I think, had a couple games suspension after, according to ChatGPT, after Defensive Rookie of the Year and then Defensive Player of the Year. So it's not too frequently that you see this. And a guy we were just calling the face of the league just last year is now definitely not the face of the league any longer. Or if he is, it's for all the wrong reasons. Moving into our next topic, we talked about him a little bit here already. Nathan Rourke, will he come to the CFL? Will he continue the NFL circuits? What's going to happen? Well, the writing was kind of on the wall with the New England Patriots after they drafted not one, but 2 quarterbacks in the NFL draft just the other week, including with their 3rd overall pick, I think it was. Kind of figured there was no room for Rourke with New England, so he ends up signing with the New York Giants today. What do you guys think about Rourke's position with the Giants here? Trey, it seemed like you weren't a fan when we were talking earlier.
He went from a crowded quarterback room to an equally crowded quarterback room. I don't understand. He went to a team that drafted 2 guys to a guy that didn't just pick up Mac Jones, who was one of the top picks from a few. It's Mac Jones now. Didn't he go to the Giants?
Yeah, he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, then is it still Daniel Jones? I
think it's still Daniel.
Oh, okay.
Jones.
Change your last names, guys. We can't But anyway, he's still at the top. My point is, he's still a pretty top pick a few years ago for the Giants. They had 3 or 4 guys in there. He's not even on the top. He wouldn't even dress right now the way it's settled. But I mean, if it's the only team that threw him an offer, what's he going to say? Or claim him, I guess. That was the proper term, right? What's he supposed to do? Say no thanks? He's going to take his opportunity. Not hope, but maybe someone gets hurt or he outperforms somebody. Maybe one of them quarterbacks will get a 9-game suspension. Who knows? And he'll be there. But I was just thinking, isn't it funny that the real face of our league doesn't even play in our league? It's between, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's that wild to me where the new my Twitter feed today over Chad Kelly's news was only drowned out by Nathan Rourke news. Right? Like, it's so weird how it's so, but that's all But and with Nathan Rourke, I don't know what team do you think he like? Is there a team really jumping off the paper right now where they're like, yeah, we need a guy like Nathan Rourke?
Well, I mean, if you're a developmental team, maybe the Denver Broncos maybe could use a quarterback.
Yeah, their quarterback room is rough, but they did draft somebody, didn't they?
Broncos drafted somebody?
I think so.
Yeah, they had a top pick, I'm pretty sure.
No, they didn't have the top, but I mean, they had
but they had a high up pick enough to get one of the top quarterbacks. Because I kept hearing, I didn't pay enough attention to that draft. But
here's my thing: Daniel Jones was a high draft pick. He's failed in New York. They pulled him last year. He got injured and then he got pulled. They brought in Drew Lock. Come on, it's Drew Lock. He's not going to do much in the Giants locker room. The other one they had was Tommy DeVito. He's got the best name in the league. He's not a great quarterback. If Nathan Rourke, if they're serious about giving Nathan Rourke a good opportunity, he should be the backup. I think he's better than Locke. I think he's better than DeVito. Will he get the second string job? No, because the NFL doesn't work that way. You got to be a high draft pick in the NFL, or else you don't get anywhere. It's just the way it is.
I love the attention to detail. The Denver Broncos roster still has Russell Wilson. So they didn't update it.
Well, they got a Wilson. I mean,
they got Zach Wilson now. Yeah, they got Zach Wilson. That's what I was thinking of. Okay.
But I'm just saying, there's no real – Nathan Rourke, I think, is probably the best guy on that roster right now, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't see – like I said, I don't see Locke beating him. I don't see DeVito beating him. And I honestly probably don't even see Daniel Jones beating him.
But he's not going to get the opportunities in the playing time to show it. So
he's not going to get his opportunity. He's not going to get the shot to climb the ladder. It's the way the NFL works. It's all politics and it's BS, and I think he should be in the CFL. Because at least you got a shot of being a big fish in a small pond.
He went to a pretty decent college. That's why I'm surprised he's not getting a shot. Like, it's one thing to me if a guy from University of Saskatchewan or Manitoba, but even them got chances ultimately. But you know what I mean? Some Canadian school.
But it was still a D2 college. It wasn't a D1.
No, but
that's the problem in the NFL. If you're not in a D1 college, you don't get the shot. They would rather bring in a guy from Miami that does absolutely nothing instead of going after a D2 really good college.
Which you think they would learn, right? Tom Brady, last guy in the draft. Who was it? Kurt Warner, right? Wasn't he a free agent? Like, he was a pickup. Like, he didn't get drafted. And he was, you know what I mean? Like, you think they would learn, but I don't know.
Moody was a Boston College grad. I mean, he's a great quarterback. No, who cares?
And then these guys, like, I'm not convinced Caleb Evans is going to do much. I'm not convinced on him.
The backup quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes?
Not Caleb. The other one.
Caleb Williams.
I hour and a half of coaching kids baseball just wipes me today.
That's fair.
That's fair. I don't think he's going to do much, and he's the guy from UCL or USC, and I think Nathan Rourke's better than him. Not necessarily, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's very interesting, but there's not one team where I'm like, ooh, put him there, put him there, put him there. Because I kind of see that same in the CFL. Like, the CFL, every team should give him an offer, but it's weird to see him in any other colors than the orange and black, if I'm going to be completely honest. So,
but that's not going to happen. So,
well, you never know. But
you think he's going to go back to BC, or do you mean Cincinnati? Or are we talking about?
No, I think with BC, no, not the Cleveland Browns. I don't know. BC would be tough after everything VA did last year too, to just bring him back and say sorry. Like,
VA's on the north side of 30.
Yeah,
and Nathan Rourke would still be 28 next year.
Yeah, I don't think Rourke's coming back to CFL this year, and Farhan Dawsey kind of said the same thing. I think he'll bounce around, try different NFL opportunities. Maybe next year we see more of the Rourke return.
He's doing the Chris Trevler. Yeah. He's trying to get however many games that he gets dressed, that he gets that pension, and then Chris Trevler comes back for that because probably they make more on that pension than you do in the CFL.
Yeah. Well, the guy's better than Chris Trevler.
No, I get it. No, I'm just saying, but he's doing the same thing where he just wants to get on the game day roster enough times. And yes, hopefully he can be the starter and maybe get a $20 million contract a year one day. But I think the bare minimum is get enough game starts, you get that pension, and then rework through your options. So now that I have the pension, do I want to be a free agent in the NFL, or do I want to make, even if he's the highest paid player in the CFL, $700,000-800,000 playing for Hamilton? That's I think his plan.
Bo Nix was drafted as a quarterback by the Denver Broncos, by the way, 12th overall this year. So they did draft a quarterback, yes. I made the joke in our Discord channel. The Atlanta Falcons seems like they pick up extra quarterbacks for no apparent reason. Why not?
I feel so bad for Cousins, man. He just seems like such a gosh darn it, golly gee, guy.
Kirk Cousins is great. If you watch season 1 of the quarterback series on Netflix, it's so good.
I couldn't imagine him cussing. You know what I mean? He just seems so like religious and down to earth. He's just always so calm. A couple of times you see him mad on the field, you're just like, gosh darn it, man,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I could see. Somebody hitting up into him saying, good job, now I'm getting back up. Well, that didn't work. Well, let's try another thing, guy.
Even that, when he hurt his ribs or whatever in the quarterback show, he's smiling and just, okay, guys.
I'm fine. But that's what I'm getting at. I mean, that's why, honestly, I don't like the NFL, because if you're not a big shot and a big shot in an NCAA team, you don't get a real opportunity, unfortunately. Well, you have to really earn your way through. Like, there's no way that Cameron Wake should have ever come to the CFL.
No.
I mean, there's
certain he had off-field issues, didn't he?
But I mean,
I know, but
But also, congratulations to Stiggers. I mean, he should have made it to the CFL. There's no way that he should have been in the CFL or in the AFL or whatever he was in before he came over to the Canadian Football League. Yet there he is. And
who did he go to the Jets?
Yeah, the New York Jets.
Yeah.
6th round or something like that, I think it was.
The weird thing about the Jets, they usually have a good defense. And that's so that saying something if I know it's Coach Sala there, right? He's a pretty good defensive coach.
Yeah.
Their offense is horrific. So if they're taking a guy from the CFL, they're like, hey, he can cover a guy that gets a 10-yard head run start. What's he going to do with a guy that can't get a running start, right? So
on a side note, team that I thought that the Nathan Rourke sweepstakes should have went to, the New York Jets. Honestly, they got Aaron Rodgers and then Zach Wilson's gone because they can't go to that excuse. I thought Nathan Rourke would have been a good spot in there.
I just playing wise, yeah. I don't think anyone wants to be mentored by Aaron Rodgers, right? I couldn't imagine it.
Just reading the question there in the chat.
Yeah, just looking at some of these chat questions, topics here. One just came in, going back to the Kelly topic. We can answer this one quickly before we move on. What do you think the over-under for Argos wins on the season will be, and would you go over? Currently, Toronto's the only team not listed on the site in BC.
That makes sense. Today, yeah.
They probably yanked them off of there if they weren't up there beforehand. I'm going to say the over-under on win total doesn't change.
No, yeah.
What do you thought the win total would have been then? 10 wins? 11 wins?
I think I had them at something like 11 or 12, yeah.
Yeah, I see them being a double-digit team win. And yeah, like if those odds pop up tomorrow and they're at 8.5, 9.5, I take the over, right? Pretty hard.
That team is deep across the board, right? They won games last year because of their depth at all positions. Chad Kelly was the league MVP, and I didn't think he actually lit it up that often, right? Like he spread the ball around to everybody. Everybody pitched in. It was just a well-run team, and I don't think that's changing.
Just look at their schedule, because I like looking at schedule a little bit when we talk about overs. Argos have 3 home games to start the regular season. And you guys want to talk about home field advantage. Well, they have home field against BC. That might be a tough one. But then they have home against Edmonton. Could be competitive. And a home one against Montreal, right? So then, I could see they're definitely going to be around 10 wins, because I can't see – I have the FM fan. No offense, you're a Ticat fan. You're not allowed to answer Argo questions. Like me saying over and under for Saskatchewan, man. I'm always going to bet the under. I'm always going to say they're going to go what's the opposite of what Ryan from Stamps Podcast does, the 18-0. The Riders are 0-18, right? That's just what we do.
And yet you put your off-season bet on them to win the Grey Cup.
Because the odds, that's degenerate Trey, looks at the odds, and I say these odds, betting on the Bombers makes no sense because they're always just so stacked. But I say 3-6, best.
Best or 9.
FMF, come. If you could get a trial, like a time machine, go to Winnipeg last year and watch Cameron Dukes play against the Bombers defense. Because if you watch that game live and you see a guy who played not very many starts in the CFL, that guy, he can play. Is he going to be Zach Caleros and VA and McBeth Thompson? No, probably not. But anyway.
I'm going to go
I'll take the over. I say Cameron Dukes throws more yards than all the Ticat quarterbacks combined. So there we go.
I'm on that board. I claim he's going to be an East Division All-Star.
Yeah, because we all know that Bo's going to get the hook in 2 weeks max. So
I'm going to go with actually that they will lose a few games right off the bat in the first part of the season. They'll turn it around, I think, because it's tough to just come in and be the new quarterback. And everything else, it's so weird to make bets at this time of how many wins they're going to get. My guess is probably they're going to be right in the middle, 9-9, 8-10, maybe 10-8. I don't like their first part of the schedule. BC's a tough team to play. Then you got McLeod Bethel-Thompson coming in, who's going to want his pound of flesh out of the Toronto Argonauts because, you didn't sign me. And then Montreal's a tough team. I mean, they're the champs for a reason. So they could go 0-3 at the beginning just to kind of be nice to FM fan here. Will they beat Hamilton, though? Sorry, no, they won't. They won't lose to Hamilton, I don't think. And, go from that.
I just hope the Argos go undefeated against the Ticats just for FM fan.
Watch them go undefeated all season.
Oh,
Imagine that.
Cameron Duke's 18-0, and they'll just say, Kelly, just stay suspended, man.
Trey will be the first one leading him to the Hall of Fame club.
Oh,
Trey's gonna go collect another Grey Cup ring, right? So
okay, we got to start another podcast behind the scenes thing. Give Mrs. Trey a camera at Blue Bomber games, because I think that would be comedy gold. Because I pace, and I don't think I was as angry as I was that game, because our starting defense looked like JV high school against Cameron Duke. So anyway.
Duke's over Corn Dog. Duke's over Corn Dog.
100%.
If I get the first overall draft pick, here's my cards. I'll take Cameron Duke. Come on, Duck. We're going to have the Duck race again. I want my Duck to take me that first round pick.
All right, we're going to have to talk trades here before the draft even starts. Well, rookie camps begin tomorrow, and so the quarterbacks and a bunch of rookies and one not so much a rookie will be showing up to training camps. Trey, speaking of betting odds, let's go back a month ago. What would you put as the betting odds of 54-year-old Milt Stegall lining up on day one of rookie camp for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Because it's happening.
But it's not legit. He's not like, no. It's such, because I hated it, because I knew it was going to happen, but it's going to be the gimmick of gimmicks, right? Like, there's no way. He's going to destroy some poor rookie's career, and then he's going to go back to his AC TSN job. Like that, I don't know. The odds would have, like, I knew it was going to happen, but it's not. I want him to do so good that they contemplate dressing him in Regina in a few years. That's what I want.
Honestly, I'd pay to see that.
I'll drive up to Saskatchewan, man. It's a Monday holiday, that one. I'll come out.
I'm gonna guess there's something in like his contract, because he works for TSN, that would like not even allow that, right? But then again, who knows? Enoch Mwamba was under contract with the Argos and was on the TSN panel during the season.
Bo Levi and Chad Kelly. Yeah.
I totally want to see Mike O'Shea go up to him afterwards and say, "You're cut. Get out."
I want to see it almost like a reality TV show. Any DB or cornerback that he burns, you're cut immediately, and you just have to pack your bag in front of him.
Better have the cameras all over this. If this isn't a PR stunt with cameras all over it, I feel kind of sorry for all the rookies in there, right? Like, this is your moment to try to make your name for yourself and make it in the CFL. And there's this big distraction that's going on, and all the focus is on Milt Stegall here in that situation. And maybe that takes some of the pressure off. I know he did say in an interview that like he's going to come in, he's going to try to provide some tips and coach some of these guys and stuff, and really try to make sure that he doesn't interfere with their tryouts, because they deserve their shot. And I do like that, but it's hard to see this not being a bit of a distraction going on. And my favorite tweet on the matter, I think, came from John Hodge of 3 Down Nation, where he talked about what poor, like, 22-year-old who's never heard of the CFL, has no idea who Milt Stegall is going to come into rookie camp day one as a defensive back and see this 54-year-old man on the other side of the huddle and wonder what the heck is going on here.
Then he's going to beat him at the line, and then he's going to say, "Go to party stuff on Milt Stegall Drive, kid." That's what he's going to say.
He's just going to go and look at the kid and say, "Hey, kid, look up at the board over there and see my name."
You see my face at the gate over there, gate 2? That's me. My name's up there on the wall of fame.
Yeah, it's on the wall of fame. You want to go and try me, kid?
Yeah. He's probably going to be the only player that actually has his name on his jersey, too, in training camp. He better have 85. If he doesn't
have 85, it's all wrong. I mean,
and like, again, I don't wish for injury, but oh my God, if he pulls something, I'm going to die too. Mrs. Stegall's just going to be shaking her head the whole day as he's like walking
and
down.
The panel will never forget it.
Yeah. Oh, especially Sanchez, if the DBs beat him. Oh, man. Put Sanchez out there with Dunnigan throwing balls.
Yeah. I love it, though. This is fun. This is going to be fun. I can't believe this is happening. I kind of wish it was for more than just, a day.
Are the public allowed to rookie camp?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is open to the public tomorrow.
I'm debating going, but I'm so lazy that I don't even want to go.
You have to, Trey. You got to go take a picture of Milt. Milt getting to go and work out an idea.
He wants his picture with me, okay? Like this.
Well, now he has his chance to go practice.
Willie will be sitting on the sidelines with you watching.
Willie? Man, I almost bumped. Willie. I almost bumped into him when he was holding his kid, and I felt bad because he didn't see me. But I mean, at the same time, when you're like 6'4", do you see anything shorter than you? But.
Honestly, though, if Milt Stegall gets cut, the Riders have got to sign him.
Just so he can get the signing bonus and then retire again.
I'm just happy it's with Winnipeg. And he kind of said already if he was going to do this with any team, it was going to be Winnipeg, right?
You know what? I talk about Stegall. His I think we forget that, like, we don't forget, but he played his whole career. He does a good job of not being too favorite, I find, right? And it's hard to do. We do it on the show sometimes, right? The only time I've ever said Stegall be the favorite was Grey Cup when we broke our drought, right? Like, other than that, he's been pretty good. But, yeah, I think he would rather die than go play in a team in green.
Although I heard he was close with Edmonton, but apparently Chris Jones wanted to make him a defensive back. So.
Chris Jones said 54 is too old for him too, man.
True enough.
54. Yes, he looks good for 54. Anytime I see him.
I think he can, honestly, I think he can compete out there. Especially your big concern when we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Trey, was he ain't taking a hit in training camp. But
I don't think he's taking a hit. I don't think that's the only reason why I'm like. See, again, there's a little part of me that I wish this was legit, like 100%.
Yeah.
He gets pads. We know he's going to be there in Regina in a few weeks. Like, that's what I was hoping for. And then he takes a hit against maybe some rookie in Regina or something, and he goes, okay, I'm done. And he slowly walks up the steps to the TSN panel or stuff. Well, just kidding. They don't televise preseason games. But man,
maybe that's why. Maybe because Milt wasn't available. So they're like, oh, got to cancel the broadcast.
I did take a Milt Stegall football camp probably 10 years ago when he was 44, I guess, and he could play then. I'll give him that. He was running routes and showing us how to do things, and it was pretty wild. So,
I love it. That's fun.
All I can say is if Milt Stegall goes and all I would pay for him is just one day. And you know how, like they always say in hockey, you got to make an example of yourself, or you got to do something so the coaches remember your name. Some defensive back just absolutely massacres Milt Stegall.
Just lights him up.
Remember that guy.
Blows him up, man. But the coaches remember you, but how to become the most hated person in Winnipeg in 10 seconds, right? You kill. I think, we have a limited Mount Rushmore of all time. Dancing Gabe, Howard, Chuck, and Stegall, kind of are up there.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Solani's got to be close.
And Solani, right? That's our all-time sporting heroes right there. So
somebody just smokes Milt, the guy there. He becomes their best defensive player ever, and every time he gets the ball, he gets booed by Winnipeg.
If you do that and you're not cut instantly, you're getting run out of town probably with pitchforks and torches.
Then Saskatchewan will be calling that guy.
With open arms.
We'll pick you up. Don't worry.
All right. Well, Milt makes his comeback for at least one day here in the CFL. Another long-term receiver calls it quits. Manny Arceneaux hanging up the cleats here after a long career of his own. Maybe he'll be back in 20 years or whatever it is, 18 years from now to make his own comeback. But Arceneaux hanging him up after playing, 6 seasons in the CFL, according to his stats on the CFL website. Great receiver, 1,500 yards in a season with BC, 1,100 another year after that. I feel like his career was longer than this. The CFL stats must not be up to date.
That's not right. Only 6 years?
I'm sure he said 14.
No, okay. Yeah, CFL, shocker, CFL stats are garbage. He has been in the CFL since 2009 was when he was first with the Lions there.
Wikipedia shouldn't be more accurate than
if you're reading the CFL stats, you're a real genius. Anyways.
I don't know why I went there and thought it would be accurate. Yeah, 4 seasons of over 1,000 yards, including one in 2016 of 1,500. I'm like, there's no way that was his first season. He put up 1,500 yards there for Manny Arceneaux. But a man that was ever so consistent, had an insanely long streak of catch a game. I think he finally had his. I feel like he finally had his first game without a catch. In the last couple of years. Great receiver, Manny Arceneaux. Any thoughts on his retirement here?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's great. BC is probably would be remembered the most, I would think, just because I remember those big seasons alongside of G-Roy and a few other guys. And boy, yeah, he was always great there. Came over to Saskatchewan for a brief moment, and I don't remember much of Manny in Saskatchewan just because really they never really got him the ball, to be honest with you. I just kind of was one of those seasons where we were kind of poor and it sucked and it was what it was. But then getting over to Edmonton, I mean, tried to make a good career out of it to finish it off. I mean, probably didn't work out the way he wanted to. It was kind of a crowded backfield with Eugene Lewis and a few others in there. But you know what? I think he was probably a pretty good teacher to Dylan Mitchell and a few others. Seemed like he had a really nice, again, had a great career. You're right, the 1,500-yard season and a few others. He was one of those great receivers for the CFL. And, yeah, he'll be in the Hall of Fame for sure one day here. So
I was going to ask, I'm so terrible at the CFL Hall of Fame because we get a guy like this who plays, what we said, 14 years since 2009 on and off in the CFL. But, yeah, I think Hall of Famer. I definitely wouldn't be upset with him in there. A guy that I remember his days in BC, a guy that BC was always my second most hated team, and he was probably my most hated player on that team. Just because, again, he's the guy picking apart the Swiss cheese Blue Bomber defense for, like other teams do now. So yeah, congrats on the long career. See, I think Stegall went out a little bit more on top, so that's why the 54 coming back at 54 makes a little bit more sense for him. But he already did retire technically around COVID. It says on Wikipedia. And then came back to Edmonton. But yeah, how old is he? Is he in his 30s?
38, 36?
36, according to Wikipedia. No, good long season. And one of those guys, one of those Americans who ends up calling Canada home, and you'll have to, pretty much call it at home if you're willing to play here for 2 decades, right? So good on him.
I could see him being a guy that does make it to CFL Hall of Fame long term. And yeah, definitely his time in BC. Was very impressive. He's top 20 all time, according just found the TSN article here. He's top 20 all time in receptions and top 30 all time in receiving yards in the CFL. You can't tell me that's not going to end up in the Hall of Fame someday.
Yeah, I mean, there's other guys in there with a few less stats than that, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he has 1 or 2 Grey Cups. You just said, I think, how many Grey Cups does Manny have? 1 for sure.
1 for sure.
And I don't think he got 1 in Edmonton or Sask.
No.
I just don't know if he had 2 in BC or 1 in BC.
But you look it up.
Anyways, he's got all the stats to be in a Hall of Famer. I mean, no question he should be a CFL Hall of Famer eventually here. There's actually, they announced the Hall of Fame team here for this year too. I know that the former Saskatchewan Rough Rider, and yes, he is a Rough Rider, not a bomber. Weston Dressler got onto the list. Who else am I thinking of that I was missing on that list there?
I've got the full list here if you want. Defensive back Marvin Coleman, wide receiver Weston Dressler, defensive lineman Vince Goldsmith, wide receiver S.J. Green, Coach Ray Jouch. I probably botched that last name. President Ed Laverty, wide receiver Chad Owens, the Flying Hawaiian, and then CFL football operations member Steve Daniel, who I think does a lot of the stats tracking for the CFL, and reporter Farhan Lalji, all getting nominations. very well deserved, all of those guys, especially Farhan. I got to say, it was like cream of the crop here. Like any of the stuff half the stuff we talk about on the podcast is because guys like Farhan Lalji work tirelessly to do actual reporting on the CFL so that we have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, Farhan there is probably one of the best reporters they've had in the CFL. And you know what? He does great work in the NHL and all the others too. Anything really British Columbia, he is all over it. And it's great to see, on all honesty. SJ Green, I'll always remember that catch in 2010. I think everybody will remember that catch in 2010.
Wild.
Weston Dressler, everybody will remember the Dressler fade, mostly in Winnipeg, where they scream and still stay up at night over it.
Chad Owens, that's a guy too. He was pretty good when he played, and he kind of disappeared, I felt, or had injury or something, right?
He came over, and he's former great Saskatchewan Rough Rider as well.
Okay. I remember his time in Toronto, he was just the guy the fly in Hawaii. I don't know, when you said Chad Owens the first time, my head went to Ocho Cinco, and I was like, he is not in the CFL Hall of Fame, is he? Why did I not hear that? But no, Chad Owens deserves a little bit more than the Ocho does. But no, congrats to those guys.
The great number two. The guys from Calgary, they are the two defensive players. I believe they were. Sorry, I don't know much on you. He was a little bit older than why I was probably watching the CFL. And then the coaches, I'm sorry, I don't know much on them either, but probably well deserved, I would imagine. So it'd be a fun thing there. Also, Steve Daniels, you're right, he is the statistician guy, and he does a great job of it for TSN because, let's face it, he has to look at the CFL's kind of.
He has to do everything because they don't help him out one bit.
So. No, not a bit. So that guy there is well overworked and should deserve a pay raise.
Yeah, it's cool to me to see guys that I've watched growing up, like SJ Green, like Chad Owens, that I really followed closely, now being in the Hall of Fame is pretty cool because those are definitely guys I recognize. Weston Dressler, obviously, in that category as well. By the way, Manny Arceneaux, according to TSN, concluded his playing career having collected a reception in his last 146 games in a row, which was the fourth longest streak in CFL history. Yeah, we're going to see the call to the Hall, I think, for Manny one day in the future. Heck of a career. All the best to him and whatever comes next after football for him. As Manny Arceneaux says goodbye to his CFL career, a number of new players are trying to begin their CFL career.
Can I add one quick topic?
You sure can, yeah.
I have to say, I have a problem with, I saw this, Dave Dickinson became a Canadian citizen today, and good for him. Good for him. But is he not the one that started effing Canadian Mafia? Isn't he the one that got hot mic'd for saying effing Canadian Mafia against Winnipeg? I just feel like maybe he shouldn't be allowed to become a Canadian after that. But congratulations.
Yes, congrats, Dave Dickinson.
I don't get what the whole Canadian Mafia was about.
Oh, because he was saying that the Bombers got calls because we have a Canadian head coach, Canadian GM, Canadian owner, or Canadian president and all that. So we were the Canadian Mafia because we're the only team that has all Canadians up there. So we thought
but you got to remember, we also adopted Weston Dressler into the Canadian Air Force. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but my Mafia shirt's around here somewhere. I made the mistake of wearing that in Cuba, and they thought I was a real
oh no!
They were like, "Was that you? What are you doing? You're a real Mafia in Canada? You're ballsy for wearing that." And I was like, "Oh, it's a football shirt, man. It's okay."
Take an offer you can't refuse, eh?
I just never realized that maybe in these countries that have a little dictatorship, I shouldn't be wearing a Mafia shirt.
Yeah, not your brightest idea of all times. Yes, congrats to Dave Dickinson on his Canadian citizenship, and a number of players.
Part of the Mafia. He can be part of the Mafia. I love it, the Canadian Mafia. Post draft thoughts, Ryan. You're trying to get it out. Let's go.
Yeah, I've got so many segues here, but no, it's all good. A number of guys with Canadian citizenship looking to begin their CFL career. This whole episode was originally going to be our draft recap, but there was too much other big stuff to talk about. I honestly was not able to watch the draft that evening that it took place, so I didn't get to follow it that closely. I know, Adam, you did follow along a little bit here and there. So we won't go too in-depth on our draft recap. I feel like we're probably just going to regurgitate a lot of the thoughts we did in our draft preview, which is 2 weeks ago. So go listen to that still if you want. But Adam, what are your thoughts on what you saw from the draft? I know you weren't a fan of what the Riders did.
Yeah, well, and it's mainly because of the first two rounds. First overall pick, though, I'll just go through a few of the first ones here. Joe DeBlanco, we expected this one here. It was linebacker, 6'2", out of Cincinnati University. I think Cincinnati's had a few good receivers and a offensive lineman come out of there that everybody might have known about. But yeah, those are NFL ones, not CFL ones. Seems like a guy that's CFL ready. I mean, he played in was it the UFL or the one of the professional leagues already. So he's a pro ready guy. Think he'll do good in Edmonton. Seems excited to go there. So yeah, you'd expect to see him this year. This was the year of linebackers for Edmonton. I don't know why, but I think they picked up like 4 linebackers the whole draft. They just kept picking linebackers. I don't know if Chris Jones plans on making them into different positions later, but yeah, I'm not sure on that.
Position's all relative when you draft them if you're Chris Jones. So.
Fair enough. You just call them athlete because they're going to do something.
But yes, 3 of their first 4 picks in this draft were at the linebacker position. Also, I feel like I saw somewhere, and I think it was from John Hodge, but I might be misquoting here, that in the last 3 drafts, the Elks have taken the top long snapper off the board.
Yeah, they did it.
Like, okay.
Yeah, and actually they did it again this year. It was, I'm just trying to look at names here when I'm looking to see if I can pick it out here. But they did do it again. Evan, no, that's not him. Geez, I can't find him right off the top of my head. But, yeah, they did it again this year. They drove the number 1 long snapper, which is just really, what the heck, Chris Jones. The winner of this draft, I still say, is the Ottawa Redblacks, and it's because of their first 2 rounds of picks. They picked up Nick Marnder. I can't make sure I say that name right. Marner right now in Ontario might not be a good name to be saying too much. There's different reasons behind that one, but nevertheless, Marnder actually is probably the most pro-ready receiver that was able to be drafted in this one that wasn't going to the NFL. So he's probably going to be ending up getting a starting job in Ottawa right off the bat. He's 6'5". He's 190 pounds. He's a big receiver. So I think he's going to do real well. He's out of the University of Auburn. They can raise pretty good receivers as far as I know. So I believe he's got a really good chance of making the CFL day 1, game 1. I could see him being a receiver in Ottawa. The other thing I really loved is their pickup of Daniel Okpako. He's a linebacker. He's out of San Diego State. Born out of Saskatoon. I thought that he was going to actually probably go a little bit quicker, especially as he wasn't drafted in the NFL. He's a 6'4" lineman, defensive lineman, 274 pounds. Big boy, can really move, really balanced. I thought that either Saskatchewan or Winnipeg would have been jumping all over this guy, and yet somehow he ended up getting right back down to Ottawa. So yeah, Ottawa, I think just because of those first 2 rounds won the draft. The guys that I said lost the draft, and I mean, I hate to always say it's the Rough Riders because I'm critical of them, but I didn't like their drafting here. Yes, they need offensive linemen, but to take this guy named Kyle Hergel, he's in your first pick in the 3rd round, or 3rd pick first round. He's a guy that's not likely to be in the NFL. He's right now got a chance with the New Orleans Saints. He is not a guy that's going to get an opportunity to come up to the CFL for a very, very long time, as far as I'm concerned. If he comes up in the next 2 years, the Rough Riders win the draft. He is really, really good as an offensive lineman. They said he's the most balanced on his feet. He's probably the best with his hands. He is a great, great offensive lineman. But you probably never see him. It's terrible to pick a guy that early unless you got some inside information and think you're going to get him. I thought that this was kind of a waste by Jeremy O'Day. The other pick that they did was Nick Weeb. He's out of the University of Saskatchewan. I think he's a linebacker as well. 6'3", 240. He's a great linebacker. He's got injury issues, though. He just finished having an ACL injury, I believe. He is a guy that's going to be out for a few weeks, if not months, before he can even come into Saskatchewan. In the 2nd round pick, that's a long ways. And I think really, they could have got him in the 3rd or 4th round and didn't have to worry about anybody touching him. So that's why I'm saying other picks in Saskatchewan's were very good. I just read a few of them here. Duncan Busby was a good pickup. He's a wide receiver. Riders don't really need wide receivers, but he was available, and I guess they really have him good. Plus, also now you can say Saskatchewan runs on Duncans. That was actually a pretty good post by the Rough Riders. What else do we got here? Malik Straker, they say he's great. I don't know much about some of these guys. Arkansas State, 5'10" linebacker again. I think they said he probably could come in and play and be a good challenge. But again, some of these guys are a year or two kind of out. That's why I really didn't like most of the Rough Riders picks. Other teams, overall, they kind of drafted to what they need. Like I said, I didn't see nothing that really got me surprised in any way, shape, or form. The rest kind of went the way they kind of thought it would. So, yeah, the CFL draft was the draft, and I guess we'll see what comes out of it. Also, they still all got to get signed, so before they go to rookie camp.
The most interesting thing I noticed out of it was the Stamps and the Bombers making a trade. The Stamps picking up the 8th overall pick, so they picked at 4 and 8 in the first round. Went defensive back and then offensive lineman there. And the Bombers got picks 13 and 14 in the second round out of that draft. They already had pick 17 and pick 20. So 3 picks in 5 and 4 picks in 7 or 8 for the Bombers in the second round there. They go wide receiver first with Kevin Clarcius, 6'2" wide receiver that had some depth for them there. Interestingly, at 14th overall, they go running back with Michael Chris Ike, who is getting some NFL training camp looks, I believe. I think it looks like the New Orleans Saints getting a rookie camp look there. Does that surprise you at all, Trey, given the whole Brady Oliveira of everything right now that the Bombers make this trade and so early in the draft go running back here?
No, kind of like what Adam was saying, what he didn't like. If this guy gets a couple looks in the NFL, this could be Brady Oliveira's replacement in 3-4 years. Or not replacement, but you know what I mean? He could be the guy if we want to keep the Canadian running back, right? He'd be a great guy to have. And even if it's not this year, because we already have a couple Canadian backups, right? So this could be a guy for the future. See, I have no problem with the future picks if you already have a decent thing in place. Like Adam says, he doesn't believe the Riders have that, so why are they doing that? And I'm not going to argue with them. But I think the Bombers in running back, you can waste a pick like that for a guy who could be there. But I think the only draft they hate more than the CFL one might be the MLB one because there's 20 rounds. So you try picking 20 times 30, you try picking the 500th best baseball player under 18, right? Or under 20 or whatever it is. So, but yeah, the CFL one, I think it's hard to even say who wins or loses because some of these players, Adam what the Rough Riders drafted. Watch the Riders go on a tear in 3 or 4 years and win a few Grey Cups in a row with these guys. And I'd say you won the 2024 draft if that happens, but you can't really say it until then, right? This year, does it help them? No, but I think the CFL draft, I can't. There's very rarely guys who come in right away, right, and make huge impacts. I feel like,
agreed, yeah.
So it's something you're gonna have to wait a few years to see.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree 100%. I mean, in 3 years, if we look back and we see the top picks for the Rough Riders in the CFL and they're tearing it up, man, the Riders did a good job of drafting. I mean, back in the day when you would have told me when we were drafting Sam Emilis and we were drafting all these other guys into like receivers all the time, I would have said, you guys are nuts. And I still probably do a little bit because they could use some other pieces. But honestly, the Riders have drafted pretty well over the years in the top picks. Who knows? Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't think the Riders have the luxury of affording to hold on to draft picks that long.
All right, let's round out the show with what I think is going to be a fun little game, fun little topic here. The CFL salary cap and contracts are never disclosed officially out there, but the folks over at 3 Down Nation do a great job of trying to enlighten the fan bases with how much these players are making. So I feel like they do a series every offseason talking about the highest paid players at each position. And just earlier today, Justin Dunk posting the list of the 15 highest paid quarterbacks for the 2024 season. I have looked through this list. Trey and Adam tell me they haven't so far, so hopefully they didn't lie, because then that's going to ruin the game. Maybe they've seen bits and pieces that have been talked about in the Discord, but we're going to play a little guessing game here and see if you guys can guess who is in what spot on the list. So let's start it off, and we won't spend too long on each name, obviously, because we're an hour and 15 minutes into the show. But who do you guys think is the highest paid quarterback in the CFL?
Are we counting Chad Kelly, like in this, obviously, because he's
you can,
CFL, I guess,
because I thought his contract was up there with Colaros. So is he number one, Adam? Are we doing this together, or are we doing this separate?
Yeah, you guys can do it together. And
do we think Chad Kelly, or do you think Colaros is up there?
It's Colaros or Kelly. It's one of the two, but I would think it's probably Chad Kelly.
I think Chad Kelly.
I think he's had the newer contract. So
yeah.
I think you guys got it mixed around. I baited you on that one. Zach Colaros is number one, hard money, $600,000, maximum $600,000 on the season for him. Kelly did come in at number two with $583,000, so just behind Colaros.
So are we going with hard money, or are we going with bonuses and everything?
Oh, good question. What would you guys prefer?
I think we go hard money. What do you think?
Hard money. Hard money.
All right, yeah, we can go hard money. Okay, so you've got Colaros and Kelly off the board there, which brings us to number three. Who do you think's the number three highest paid quarterback in the CFL?
You think VA?
It's VA or Bo. It's one of the two. Bo's paid stupid. Or is it Trevor Harris? Harris is also paid pretty good.
What did Fajardo get in Montreal?
I don't think he got that much.
Oh, yeah, that much. And then I thought Mayer got a stupid high contract in Calgary too.
Yeah, and also MBT.
Oh, how about him? Oh, I was thinking.
There's a lot.
I was thinking top 5 would be easy, and if we're going to go 5 to 15 was going to be trash. But no, I think it might be the other way around here.
MBT got a pile.
MBT. Do you think maybe he needed money to want to come back because he was having a pretty nice life?
I'm going to go with MBT.
I'll ride with you, Adam.
You guys are close. MBT clocks in at number 4 on the list with hard money of $461,000. So
then
we're
is it
still
Bo
looking.
3? Adam, do you think Bo's up there?
No, you know what? I'm going to go with Trevor Harris. Trevor Harris got.
Maybe. I can do that. I'll go with that.
Adam knows his riders. It is Trevor Harris at number 3 with hard money of $473,000, maximum value $500,000.
I was gonna say if it was Bo, I'm logging off.
I am a little shocked to see Trevor Harris that high on the list, but then again, because did he do that much in Montreal to warrant that contract, or it's just the riders needed a new leaf that bad that they loaded up the truck to bring him there?
They needed a person to market. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Or
was it you saw how bad the offensive line was the last couple of years? Here's your injury fee.
Here's your insurance policy. We're paying it for you up front.
So you guys got the top 4 now. Now we move on to number 5. Who you got at number 5 on the list?
Got to be VA. Should be VA.
Yeah, let's go VA.
VA is number 6. You guys are so close every time. $403,800.
Mayer got a stupid contract. I remember us talking about this. I thought it was in the 400s. Now, what did you say VA was?
$403,800. That's also the maximum value.
I thought Mayer was like 430, if I'm remembering it right, from whenever we talked about it.
Yeah,
Jake Mayer is number 7 on the list at $339,000.
Maybe it was 400 with bonuses.
380 with maximum.
Bo Levi.
So we're still looking for number 5.
Is it Bo? It's got to be Bo. I think Bo because I think Fajardo's going to be undervalued. So Bo.
Yeah, I'll go Bo.
This was the biggest shock for me on the entire list. Bo Levi Mitchell comes in at number 9 with hard money of $225,500.
Oh,
A
didn't
massive
he got his thing reworked this year? That's what we're not thinking about, I think. Yeah.
He made over $500,000 in 2023 and is making less than half of that for 24.
I think we were thinking last year's contract, Adam. Because he reworked it out to come back with bonus incentives, I think. Yeah. So we still got number 5. So we got everywhere to 9, but we're missing 5.
I will say Bo Levi accurately being paid as the 9th best starting quarterback in the CFL.
So it's got to be Fajardo, right? The last guy?
No, but there were some backups that are making silly money.
What did Drew Brown get going to Ottawa? Did they pay him?
Yeah, I will remind you, Vernon Adams is at number 6 with $403,000. So you're looking for somebody making more than $403,000.
It's got to be a starter, man. There's no way a backup got more than that.
I don't know. Like, I mean, you look at what maybe Ford might be making. Although Ford's probably still on rookie, isn't he?
Probably on rookie, and MBT being the 3rd highest or whatever he was.
He was 4th, yeah.
But still 4th. You're not going to have 2 guys in the top 5.
Does the guaranteed money of Taylor Cornelius count?
Yeah, he's number 1. No.
If it does, Edmonton is screwed.
Wait, how do we have 9 if we only got...
You're missing number 5 and you're missing number 8 on the list so far.
I think it's got
to be somewhere.
It's got to be Fajardo at 5.
He is at 5. Yeah, Cody Fajardo, hard money $432,000, maximum value $450,000.
And then number 8, who's the highest paid backup, or is it Drew Brown?
Let's go Drew Brown.
Drew Brown
is in at number 8, $286,000 max value, $340,000. So you guys, I think, were pretty in tune for the most part. You were kind of one off on a lot of those. Now we've gotten through the starters, so now 10 through 15 gets interesting. Who do you guys think? Again, I'll mention number 9 was Bo at $225,000. So we're going less than that in hard money. Who do you think's at number 10 on the list?
Like Taylor Powell is my guess.
I'm just trying to think if I remember what Strevler.
Or Dolagala. Wonder what Dolagala's getting in BC.
Do you think Strevler got something stupid to come back?
That's true too. Yeah, Strevler might have. Also, the other one is backup for Calgary this year because he came out of Hamilton.
Matt Schultz.
Actually, Schultz, yeah. Schultz might be getting good money. My vote would be Schultz for number 9 or number 10, I guess. Is it number 9 or number 10 I'm looking for?
We're looking for number 10, and that is not Matt Schultz. He comes in at 14 with hard money of $107,500. But he does have a max value of just under $200,000. Incentives for him if he plays more than half of Calgary's snaps in a regular season game, and if he does it at least 14 times or at least 17 times, he gets some pretty nice bonuses in there. So if he wins, like something for
probably hurt, right? So,
or he wins the training camp battle, right?
Yeah, but not what you're paying Mayer. You're hoping that he's anyway. You know what? Give me Strevler because he get paid to come back.
He's in at number 11, $120,000 regular contract, max value $174,000, with some bonuses for taking the every time he takes more than half the snaps.
I swear to gosh, if it's Mason Fine, I'm going to have a fit. Let's put it that way. I'll fit.
Who's the backup in Montreal? We just said it. Was it Caleb Evans now?
Yeah.
No. I'm trying to think of some of the lower end, like whoever was like, who's the backup in Hamilton now?
Taylor Powell. Probably maybe.
That's what I say, Powell, because they gave him a raise with Bo being so low because there's going to be 1A.
Yeah. That's possible.
Let's go ahead.
Taylor Powell is not on the list, actually. So between him and Bo, they're probably paying their quarterbacks just over $300,000 combined for the season.
Ooh. Hamilton's pretty cheap.
That's why they can spend so much on the offensive line.
They haven't spent anything on the receivers. You think they work on that.
So Schultz was 10.
Schultz was 14. You're looking for 10. Strevler was 11.
So this
10,
so backup
12,
to get
13.
Go with Mason Fine. Get it over with. It's Mason Fine, isn't it?
Mason Fine is number 12 on the list. $113,000, max value $174,000 for Mason Fine. He gets some smaller bonuses for reaching passing yardage and touchdown thresholds.
So we're missing 10 and 15?
We're missing 10, 13, and 15.
I wonder where Jacob Dolegala ended up. He better not be over Fine. Or he better be over Fine.
I mentioned this to you in the Discord earlier today, and you reacted to it,
Cameron
Adam.
Dukes. Where's Cameron Dukes?
I'll go to Dolegala first because Adam was talking about him. Then we'll go to Dukes. Dolegala comes in just under Mason Fine at $110,800 as number 13 on the list. He has the most interesting bonuses, in my opinion, in his contract. Where as the backup quarterback in BC behind Vernon Adams, he will get $3,000 if named a West Division All-Star and $4,000 if named a CFL All-Star.
So
that is a very interesting contract.
Get $7,000.
So basically, potentially congrats on $7,000 if VA gets hurt, is what that is. And even then, like, how many quarterbacks are named All-Stars per division? Is it just one or is it two?
I think one.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a backup, maybe. No, I don't think.
I think it's just one.
He's just one.
Yeah. So, Jake, I would not plan a big vacation around this bonus coming in for you, but
wouldn't be setting up for that vacation for $7,000, buddy.
Yeah, betting on himself there. You're missing 10 and 15 on the list. You asked about Cameron Dukes. He did not make the list. So if, that Chad Kelly contract comes off the books and Dukes is your starting quarterback at a minimum contract, looks like the Argos have some cap space there.
Shea Patterson wouldn't be making any real amount. He was on PR last year.
Shea Patterson did not make the list either. I see a question in the chat about Shea Patterson, Jack Cohn as the backups. Mason Fine's going to be the backup quarterback behind Trevor Harris. I would be shocked if that's not the case, as much as Adam hates it.
Not if I can help it. Jack Cohn would be great.
All right, I'll fill in the remaining ones here for you guys. I think somebody did mention Caleb Evans, but I didn't hear you officially talk about him before. He comes in at number 15.
I said it, and Adam shot me down.
There we go. He's number 15 on the list at $95,000 for him. Some incentives based on being the starter or playing most of the snaps again for more games in case Fajardo's not good to go. Number 10 on the list, Jeremiah Mazzoli of the Ottawa Red Blacks. $133,800 in hard money. With a maximum value of $236,000, so almost double his contract. It doesn't really say. I think it's just big incentive each time he basically starts and plays most of the snaps. I think that was one of the biggest incentives on there. So, anyways, that's your 15 highest paid quarterbacks brought to you by Justin Duncan, the folks over at 3 Down Nation. Thanks for providing us that information because the league will not provide it to us directly. So we appreciate having that. This was a fun little game. I hope we can do this with the other positions going forward too. You guys did pretty well, not going to lie. Tough to guess those when we have no idea. And to me, this just illustrates that these contracts are not widely known.
Even though they should be. I mean, how in the world is Mason Fine making more money than Jake Dolegala? And you haven't got a chance to get both of them. Or either one of them, Jeremy O'Day. Come on. I'm just glad that you're right. I did hear that, Brandon, on the old CKRM today, that Jeremy O'Day did say the backup job is up for grabs. So if that's just what he's saying and it actually isn't, who knows?
Yeah, how is he making more money than 2024 CFL All-Star Jake Dolegala?
If he gets cut and Shea Patterson gets a job and Jack Cohn is in PR, I'd be just as happy. And don't worry, no money is guaranteed in the CFL except for Taylor Cornelius's. How much does Cornelius get in guaranteed money, I wonder?
A good amount, I think. Yeah, there's a couple guys I think that are still getting their guaranteed cash somewhere. I wonder how much Stegall's getting for his one-day contract. All right, let's wrap this show up here. Let me switch over to, that's the screen? That's the screen. Nope, that's not the screen. I lied. Is it that screen? That's the screen. There we go. We will be back again next week, we hope, and we're getting into season preview content. So I think next week we're going to do our East Division preview, which thankfully we have the, you know what, maybe we'll start with the West Division preview, just in case there's more news on this Chad Kelly case coming out over the next week or two that impact some of the predictions there, even though, like I said earlier, I don't think they'll impact mine too much. So we'll preview the West Division next week. So look forward to that. Of course, subscribe over on the YouTube to get notified when we go live, or on social media as well. We usually post about it a couple hours before. You can find us on Twitter at CF Countdown Pod, on Facebook, facebook.com/CF Countdown Pod there as well. You can find me on Twitter at CooperTrooper42. Not really active on there, but you can find me if you like. You can find Mike there to see what he's doing when he is not here. At Mike Garrell on Twitter. He said he was going to maybe show up tonight. Guess that didn't happen, or he'll show up at the last minute. We'll see. Trey, what have you all got going on these days?
You can find me at Trey Harnesslink on the X. Always got horse racing, UFC stuff going on. I was so very wrong on the Kentucky Derby, but that is okay. I think a lot of people were. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Adam, what's up, man? Where do people find you?
Well, you can find me at Adam Stewart 1 over on the old X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, I guess. But mostly I'm on Instagram right now, at Farmer in Sask. I got lots of seating pictures up there. I got lots of other stuff up there. I don't know. I got lots of things all over the place on all this stuff. And I was just looking it up here. Taylor Cornelius was guaranteed $100,000. Therefore, he's over the highest paid hard money quarterback, and he is number 15 on the list without even playing it down this year. Thank you, Chris Jones.
Gotta love it. It's great. Taylor Cornelius forever will be remembered as my first round draft pick last year. By the way, as we get into season preview content, get those draft strategies together, guys. Our fantasy draft is coming up in just a couple weeks. Let's see. Make sure you check out all the other great shows from around the Canadian Football Podcast Network at CF Pod Network on Twitter. Our friends at the Alternative Football Network as well, at the official AFN, or on Twitter, or alternativefootballnetwork.com. Also, check out the Discord community. Join us over there. Have some fun chats with us and other CFL fans in the community. Their link is in the episode description. And follow it there. It's free to join us over on the Discord community. Whatever podcast platform you're listening on, we appreciate it if you do all the fun things, such as like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, share the show with your friends, help us grow the show. We always appreciate that. Thanks to those who joined us in the live chat here tonight for your comments and questions as well. And on behalf of Trey and Adam, I'm Ryan saying thank you for listening. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.